A sexual assault case from 30 years ago landed a Chesapeake sheriff's deputy in jail, but tonight he's out on bond. Keith Pittman and the victims were all children themselves at the time. He and his attorney say they are fighting these charges. 10 on your side's Liz Palka was in court this morning for the bond hearing. And Liz, we've been digging for more about why these charges are coming up decades later. So what did you find out?
Yeah, Tom, well, here's what we found out. The prosecutors said that this case was investigated in the 80s after the victims told their mom. Then it was closed and it was reopened again in the last couple of years, leaving many, including the judge, scratching their heads. This man, Keith Pittman, a bailiff for the Chesapeake Sheriff's Office, charged with sodomy and sexual battery of children. Police say all of it happened when the suspect was around 12 or 13 years old. His attorney, Andrew Sachs.
I think there's certainly prejudice to Mr. Pittman in that if this allegation had been pursued promptly and disposed of promptly when he was 12, it would be handled very differently than when he's 42 years old.
Sachs is talking about an investigation police opened up in the 80s. Pittman was the victim's babysitter. The Commonwealth's attorney says he would force them to fondle him or perform sodomy. The case was closed for unknown reasons, then was reopened a few years ago. Why?
It just seems to be unusual delays in this case. If this really was if this really happened, one would think that this would be given more priority and more urgency than has been shown, and it leads me to believe that the allegations are highly questionable.
The judge, too, said she didn't understand why the charges didn't come up in the 80s. It was one of the reasons she brought up for granting Pittman bond. And other reasons that the judge brought up, she said that Pittman holds a position of trust within the community as a Chesapeake Sheriff's Office deputy. She also said that he doesn't have anything on his record which says he's probably not a flight risk and doesn't pose any risk to anyone in the community. All the judge's word for granting him bond today. Live in Virginia Beach, I'm Liz Palka, 10 on your side.